And welcome back to Jeff Koinange live at the Intercontinental Hotel. Here, literally counting our losses. Imperial Bank sent into receivership October 13th. This is week 5. 53,000 customers have lost their accounts, cannot access them in any way. And of course, you know what happens. You got to pay everything from phone bills to electricity bills to water bills and rent bills, etc., etc. Joining us now, a young man, Nigerian by origin, lived in the UK many years, decided, thanks to his wife, to move to Kenya and start a business. Put all their money in Imperial Bank, and then October 13th happened. I tell you, it's a tough one. Johnston Otaibe is still very optimistic, but he's losing it slowly, man. I mean, he probably thinks, I don't know, we'll ask him in a moment. We're still with Alea Kassam here in the middle, and Rita Rogers, all of them depositors, customers, loyal clients of what was Imperial Bank, and they're all very hopeful. If it was me, I'd be pretty pissed off. Johnston, you know, are you pissed off? Are you angry?
I'm very pissed off. I'm extremely angry because how can you wake up after all your parents and grandparents' hard work? How can you wake up a millionaire and by lunchtime you're broke? How does that happen? How does that happen in a country we are sold as magical Kenya? And the only thing magic is the way they can make your money disappear. How does that happen? How do you go from filling up your car every week to having to put 500, 1,000 every 2 days scared? It's not correct, it's not right.
Yeah.
And the whole handling from the beginning was wrong, completely wrong.
It shouldn't have happened the way it did, right?
No.
It was too sudden, it was too surgical, and you know, there's no warning to any of you.
Well, the thing about it is, of course, the CBK has to do what the CBK does, okay? But I'm not a banker. I don't pretend to understand the financial markets. But if in Uganda they had a similar situation, they handled it very different. They could have moved in a somewhat covert manner, taken over management, moved the managers aside. Those people who were allegedly involved, cut them off, freeze their assets. Simple. Leave the consumer to enjoy the services. Then they could have started to implement these controlled withdrawals. But what did they do? They kicked down the door of Imperial Bank, like MI5, guns blazing, shut down everything. In our interest, to help our deposits, to save our families. But yet we don't know where the next penny comes.
Speaking of next penny, I mean, you brought in more than 30 million shillings, Johnston.
Yes.
30 million.
Of course.
And you can't access it. You can't do anything about it.
I was investing. I don't have a job. I live off the investment. Okay? Imperial Bank attracted people with the fixed rate, the FDs. Okay? The interest rates were high. Okay, fine. It's all right for people to say, no, bad decision. Nobody knew. Okay? Nobody knew what was going to happen. Okay? I was living off the investment that was in the bank. Plus doing other things I was doing back in the UK and wherever. So at the end of the day, the day that happened, the morning, as soon as that message came in, what's up, same as you? I was in a blaze. I didn't know which way to look. That day I was thinking about picking up my son from school instead of letting the transport take him. Let me take him out and treat him. Cancelled. I went upstairs, almost fell down the stairs again. Got to the bank, doors closed. I got a WhatsApp message from a very good friend of mine telling me. I got there, I saw people with tears in their eyes, standing outside, and I just saw posters. No faces, no explanation, no sorry, no nothing. But lives are crumbling daily. Where's the compassion?
Yeah. Rita, are you angry about the fact that nobody's saying anything 5 weeks later? And of course, shareholders and directors will say we've been gagged by the central bank, we can't talk, we can't say anything. Are you angry that no one has communicated to you all?
Yes, of course I'm angry. I even put a message out on one of the Imperial notices saying, why has the CEO not made a statement? Is he in the country or has he taken off to Canada? Because the last bank that we had this problem, they took off to Canada and they're very happily living in Vancouver. So where is our CEO of Imperial Bank. Where is he?
Yeah. What do you tell them, Leia? I mean, look, we're talking 53,000 people. You all, your three, represent the 53,000.
Yeah.
What do you tell these people about what you all are feeling?
Despair.
I don't really know where to begin. If I'm perfectly honest with you, I really don't.
It's come to
I
that,
don't have
Johnson.
words.
Johnson, you wrote a letter. You went as far as writing a letter to the president.
Yes, I do.
Right?
Yes.
To the president.
Yes.
Go on, man. Go on. Let's hear a bit of that.
Just an excerpt.
An excerpt.
Dear Mr. President, the Honorable Uhuru Kenyatta, Sir, you are the captain of this ship. Uhuru, because it is now man to man, you owe it to your people to order that something happens sooner rather than later. Uhuru, my brother, you are a man, a father, and a husband, and I pray that you never have to look at your beloved children through the tears that are in my eyes right now. I pray that you never have to be scared to tell your wife that the food shopping cannot happen today, but tomorrow. Our President, this is your chance to show us all that you are really a true leader. God bless you, my brother.
That's powerful, man. That's powerful. Do you regret coming back to Kenya, Johnston? Because, you didn't need to come back.
I didn't need to. I had there was a choice. You can invest your money where you see fit. You can invest in London, in Nigeria, anywhere. But my choice was that compared, and for all the Nigerians watching, I'm sorry, I compared that Kenya had a better infrastructure and less fraudulent activities than Nigeria.
No 419.
They have a 612. Here, what do I do? So it was a choice. I can still go to Nigeria and travel anywhere, but the choice was to take everything and put it here into magical
Kenya.
mystical Kenya.
Houdini.
Exactly.
Leia.
You gotta laugh.
You have. I mean, what are you going to do if you don't laugh?
You gotta laugh. But that's a Kenyan affliction too. We laugh because if we don't, we'll cry.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with crying, by the way. And look, worst case scenario, if this bank folds.
Yeah.
Rita?
No. I pray it doesn't come to that. No. There will be suicide in the country by many people. Because where are they going to turn? Some of them are already of the age they can't work anymore. They put their little money in there and every month they take a little to survive. No, it cannot happen. We trusted the bank with the money. They've got to be there to give it back. Why should we pay for these unsecured loans that disappeared of 34 billion? Why should we? We've got to have a voice, and I think now it's time that we get together with all these depositors and take it to the highest. We cannot keep getting slapped down all the time. How many more things are we going to have to tolerate here? It is not that easy living in Kenya anymore because all these things are not working. They're just not working.
Leia, we must know other depositors, other clients, other people who are banking with Imperial, and I'm sure you get together and you talk about these things. What are you all saying?
We do. I mean, it's really taken over our lives over the last month, completely and utterly and entirely taken over our lives. I have friends who's, have just started businesses, whose money is in that account, whose businesses are paralyzed. Honestly, we just don't know what to do. And like we just said, it's not fair.
Johnson, can you make it to Christmas?
If the bank doesn't open up this month, it's very unlikely. It's very unlikely. We put all our trust in the governor of CBK. All of our trust. Now, the feeling, after so much silence, after being told, do not believe the fraudulent letters, do not believe the rumors. If CBK CBK cannot speak up and tell us what's going on, then they will continue to create any kind of rumors. Those people not affected will continue to jeer us who did invest. We will continue to have conversations at our expense. CBK, speak up. Social media brought us together tonight. That's the only reason we're here.
None of you know each other, right?
No,
we don't.
no. So social media, just like everywhere in the world, has to spearhead a change in the country, because otherwise the leaders, nobody will listen. It doesn't affect, personally, you. It doesn't affect Ruto. It doesn't affect anybody. It affects us. So far, not just 53,000 people, maybe 101,000 people. Domestics helps, employees, and family members. It could, and we want people to invest and come to the country. This story is a tragedy. It's not just a mix-up, it's a tragedy, and it sounds and it looks as though 34 billion in how many 13 years? 20-something $1 million a year. That can't disappear without people knowing about it. Somebody's compromised somewhere.
Absolutely.
So relations are wide, beyond the 53,000 people. What does it mean for the country? What does it mean for the banking sector? What does it mean for investor confidence? Well, the implications are wide and far-reaching.
The world is watching, the diaspora is watching.
Johnson, should someone be arrested?
People should be arrested every day. People should be arrested every day. Open the bank up and keep arresting people until they run out of papers to write to arrest people. Arrest people in the morning when they wake up. Okay, they shouldn't have kicked down the doors of Imperial Bank. They should have kicked down the doors of the people responsible, taken them to task, and then allowed us to carry on. People should be arrested. But people with money, did they go to prison?
Not here.
Steal an orange.
Oh man. Or chicken.
Chicken.
Yeah.
Bro.
7 years.
You get 7 years. Hard labor.
Okay. That's why I say it. That's why I wrote a letter to the president, the leader. It's now infringing on our human rights to some point. We're suffering psychological torture and nobody's speaking to us, nobody's saying anything to us. We're left to guess and listen to the scaremongers that are out there, like the media. CBK talk.
What do you tell your husband? What are you telling him? He's looking forward to next month going to India for that surgery that he so desperately needs. What are you telling him?
We'll get there. We'll get there. Somehow we'll get there. A person who's not as well as he is, you cannot give up hope. He's relying on his partner. If I give up hope, where's the hope for him? Do you understand? Because I too am not that well. I suffer from very bad diabetes. So I have to be his pillar. I have to give him hope. We are going. Somehow we will get there. But, we have been donors to many. Today we have to go to them to ask for help. And this is when all the doors close. The minute the phone call comes, they switch it off. Or it's like, oh Rita, you're back, what are you begging for now? Usually it's for the charities. But this Imperial Bank issue hasn't really touched many of them because they're all in the same situation. I know at least 50 people who have accounts in Imperial, and they are struggling. And they don't own their own homes. They have to pay rents. I myself have a lot of staff working on the Shamba, etc. Now I have to let some of them go. How do I pay them? And they say we need to keep people in employment. We need money to keep people in employment.
Alea, what's the breaking point? What's that point of no return?
What do you mean, Jeff?
When this bank folds, when the central bank says, you know what, shut it down.
Will they or will this continue? And that's part of the frustration, is that we have no sense of how to plan. So, what are the measures that we need to put in place? Are we looking at 2 months? Initially the discussion was in November we'll open, so it's not open. So what are we looking at, another month? Are we looking at a year? Are we looking at 10 years?
Johnson, what do you tell your 5-year-old? I mean, he's probably looking forward to Christmas. What are you telling him?
I avoid the conversation. Christmas cancelled until further notice. I avoid it. Because, okay, we have hope. They said November we have, how many, 13, 12 days left? Yeah, exactly. So I have to be optimistic. I have to be. Otherwise I start selling my phone, selling my car. I rent. So I don't have to sell that. Sell the furniture. they don't understand. Okay, the truth is, most of us here can be considered, prior to this happening, as living a fairly privileged life. There are those people who are not here today to represent themselves, okay? So immediately, we're reduced down to operating on next to nothing, or whatever we can claw back from what we may have invested before somehow. Yeah. But there are also people on ground level, proper ground level, that cannot even, they're not here, maybe they don't even watch the show, they don't have a television, but they're still affected. You know, so to me, Christmas is cancelled until further notice. Ask Peter and Girobe whether Christmas is going to take place in the houses. Yeah. Because we've got to feed people first. Simple as that. But they won't hear the last of us. No. Definitely, we'll be forming a Facebook page collectively to try and bring as many people together suffering in the same way. Because Kenyans can't keep silent forever. And this suffering goes on again and again and again. It has to stop. It has to stop.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. What's the breaking point? Yeah. I mean, how much more suffering can people go through?
And I really think as Kenyans, we've got to take our power back, and we've got to find ways to be powerful in the country in affecting the change. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that looks like, but it means speaking out, and it means coming together, and it means trying to change things in the spaces that you can.
What are we going to, what example are we leaving for our children? I don't know what to say. Yes, none of our families are going to have Christmas.
Forget Christmas. There are people who don't know where their next meal is coming from.
And like Johnson was saying, I mean, end of November, you can't pay your rent coming into December.
I might struggle through this month, but December,
forget about it.
Who knows?
So Jeff, I challenge you, how do we get the governor on the bench?
I mean, look, he came in with so much fanfare, so everyone was, thinking they were loving what he was doing. I'd love him to come on the bench. I mean, I invite him on the bench. I'd love him to come. But more importantly, we need his people to do something about it. But it looks like there's a lot of rot that he inherited in that bank. Yeah. There's got to have been a lot of rot. Yeah. And they would have known. I'm saying you have to be an idiot to have let 34 billion shillings disappear in 15 years.
And Jeff, even worse, after John Mohammed died, was it not the following day 3 billion moved out?
3 billion just...
there's a day I wrote a check to my landlord. They refused to pay my check. Why? Because they tried to contact me before... up to 11 o'clock in the morning, because they couldn't confirm it with me, because it was over 100,000, they cancelled it. Why? Because we have to send details of all our base transaction to the central bank. So we have to, if you don't contact by 11, they bounce the check. This is Imperial Bank. They bounced my check when the money was there because they couldn't speak to me. They tried for 2 hours. So CBK is aware of what goes on. 3 billion.
John Mohammed withdrew it from the grave.
Yeah, my gosh, he's resourceful. Magical Kenya.
Magical Kenya.
I got a tweet from Michael Opondo, good friend of mine from back in the day. He says, totally heartbreaking show. I mean, this is, that's the only way to describe this, your predicament right now.
It is. It's potentially devastating.
The heart is going, the mind is following close behind. In a society where the mind is crumbling with the heart, what can happen?
You have 2 little kids.
That's right.
You have 34 little mentally challenged kids. You have no clue what's going on. The sand is not coming this Christmas. Closing thoughts. Starting with you, Rita. That's your camera over there. Closing thoughts. Look into that camera. Talk to the shareholders, the director, maybe even chairman Al-Nashir Popat. Talk to him right there. What do you tell him?
Well, what I have to say to him is that we trusted your system, and we put in the money with a very clean heart, and we encouraged so many other people to put in their money in that same bank. And today we have 50 families struggling. Where are you? Where are you? Can you wake up?
Leah, same camera. Talk to him. Talk to them. Talk to your people.
I think my message actually is to every single Kenyan out there. is it's easy to sit in your corner and see the numbers being splashed on the newspaper and think this has nothing to do with me. If I just keep my head down, I'll be fine. The truth of the matter is, every single one of us is affected in one way or the other. And the impact that it has on your life is potentially devastating. We can't just sit here. Imperial Bank is just one example of the rot that's happening right now. We've got to take our power back and change things.
Indeed. John Stone, you have the last word. Go ahead.
I may not be as nice as Alea. She's right. At the end of the day, Kenyans, Imperial Bank is just one bank. What if it happens to your bank? And the CBK treat you in the way it's treated us, and 53,000 moving up probably over to 100,000. CBK, I don't care who you prosecute. I don't really care. My son doesn't care who you prosecute, but just prosecute. Open the bank, prosecute later. Let families live on and stop crumbling lives.
Absolutely. Johnson Kaibo, Alea Kassam, Rita Rogers, thank you so much for coming, folks. Really, I don't know what else to say. There's no more I can say, but I hope somebody out there is listening. In fact, Abigail Arunga has summed it up. She's basically addressing the powers that be, where she says, where are you? Wake up. Where are you? Simple as that. Folks, this is not bought from Imperial Bank or anything, but I'm gonna give you some t-shirts, some goodies to take home.
So do you think we could sell this? It might...
One day, I promise you, one day, they will be worth a lot of money. And because, this was a dark Wednesday on that October morning, the closest I could get to a black t-shirt is navy blue. Unless you're colorblind, and it's... But you can wear that sometime.
This is only 1X.
You need 2Xs?
At some point.
You're going to get to that.
I've lost 10 kg.
Have you really?
I have lost more than 10 kg.
Is that a good thing normally, or?
Well, I was supposed to go on a diet. That's the only thing CBK done for me. 10 kg. But 10 years.
It's cost.
It's the most expensive diet.
The most expensive diet I've been on in my life.
Thank you for giving us this.
You're most welcome, and I hope things work out.
Yeah.
I hope somebody out there listens, wakes up, does something.
Yeah.
Because if not, then it's going to reach a breaking point.
It will.
Starts, like you said, John, it's going to start with this bank, goes to another bank, and
It'll all be four banks fallen since 1990.
What happens with the Dubai Bank's money, the 1.3 that they haven't used? Is it going to CBK? They can give it
to you guys.
They can give it to us.
Yeah, why
Share it out.
What's 1.3? What's 1.3? So I can tell them the bucket.
Yeah, frame 40, yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks so much. Thanks so much for watching. Keep tweeting at, what's your Twitter handle?
Kenyan UK.
At Kenyan UK.
Yes.
At Alea Kassan. At Shosho. At Koinange Jeff. The hashtag counting the losses. Let's keep counting. Let's keep talking. Let's keep making noise. Guys, do that. On social media everywhere. Keep making noise until someone listens. And I hope someone listens, because we must. If we don't, well, I keep saying, if not us, then whom? If not now, then when? Tomorrow night, Inspiration Thursday is back. Remember Kimani Maruge, the 81-year-old who decided to go back to Standard 1? The movie version, called The First Grader. The lead actor in that, you know him, Oliver Letondo, was also a very famous broadcaster back in the 60s and 70s. Remember him? Oliver Letondo? Great guy. Great guy. He's going to be our Inspiration Thursday guest tomorrow night. Like I say, keep tweeting, keep talking, keep chatting. Because the minute we stop talking is the minute we start fighting. We don't want to go down that slippery slope. Thanks so much for watching. Good night. Good luck. God bless. Thank you, Rita. Thank you.
Thanks.